All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hopefully you have gotten your fill of food from one of our three wonderful vendors today. It's turned out to be a fantastic afternoon, so thank you all for coming, and thank the weather for holding off. Yep. For those that don't know me, my name is Josh King. I'm just a community member just like you. I live right down the road, and last year we had this great idea to say, hey, you know what? There's an opportunity for us to give back to our community and do something just out of the goodness of our hearts. A handful of families got together last year and decided we would do something like this. How do we tell the people that keep us safe at night and day, through winter and summer, how much we appreciate you? So we thought, hey, why don't we do this community service event and see who shows up? Let's see it. And so I know we compete with the University of Wisconsin football game tonight. If we did it on Thursday, you'd have soccer and you'd have JV football and everything else in the world. But I think this is a really good representation, and I hope to make this bigger in the next coming years, because this is the second annual, which now we can say it's a tradition, right? So we're all happy. And what makes this possible is you and your families here. Everyone wearing a uniform here. I hope if you are not a member of the police or fire, EMS, dispatch, or a correctional facility, shake their hand. If they're in uniform, find them, shake their hand, and say thank you, because this is a really important event for us, and it shows the community how much we care. And we're going to keep building upon this. And I think last year was a great grassroots event. We have more this year, which you'll see from the VFW in a second, and we have more promising in the future. So we'll get into all that, as well as a quick agenda. We're going to have some opening ceremony stuff, the national anthem, the VFW, a message by our village president, Randy Glish, who is here. And then we'll get into a little bit of education and some great awards for our police, fire, EMS. So we're going to try to move quickly. I'm starting 5 minutes early, just to give you the 5 minutes back, just in case it starts raining at the end of the day. But I think someone's looking out for us. And we have good weather probably till 8. So, all right, with that being said, I will ask that everyone stand up, and we're going to do the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Noli. Now, Oregon VFW Post 10272 will present ceremonial firing of arms. Gentlemen.
Port R. Cover yours. Forward, mark. On the right. Squad, halt. Left, pace. Prepare to fire. Aim, fire. Aim, fire. Aim, fire. Port R. Right, face. Forward, march.
All right, thank you. Everybody, please be seated, relax a little bit. Thank you to VFW. Thank you, gentlemen. You know, I was joking with him. There's only one Navy guy in that group, and I'm a Navy guy, so he's outnumbered, but they did a great job. So again, I've got a gentleman I'm going to bring up in a second, but before that, I believe Mr. Tim LeBrun has something for us. He represents tonight the Optimist Club, who's a great club. My wife is part of that as well. And so when we talk to community members about what we're trying to do in this event, not surprisingly, we have a ton of people reach out and want to contribute in some way or the other. And the Optimist Club has generously stepped up. And I think this is a direct relationship to the work you guys do and the pride that you have in the community, the pride the community has for you, even if you don't see it every day or you hear it. So I'll let Mr. Tim LeBrun do some, tell us what he's here for.
Thank you, Josh. We owe a great great gratitude to Josh and Malia, who started this idea about recognizing our first responders. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I am part of the Optimist Club, as Sherry is as well. We wanted to make sure that the organization that put this together, to Josh and Malia and the small group of families that put this together, knew that we are solidly behind them. And we wanted to start the funding or finish the funding of this event tonight with a check from the Optimist Club in the amount of $500. You may have seen us around the community at a Brock Fry someplace or out selling 50-50 raffle tickets, and this is why we do it, so that we can recognize great things like this. So I've got another presentation a little bit later on in the event tonight, so we just want to present this to Malia and Josh with our thanks for putting this together.
Yeah, they do great work, and I would say this, and there's one other proposition I'm going to make. If you're interested in giving back to your community, the Optimists do great work. They're back there. I told them they could put up a table this year and actually recruit. But they didn't do that this year, but I think the offer still stands. If you want to make a difference and generate funds to support something like this, and you have some free time, feel free and reach out to the Optimist Club. I'm sure they'd love to have you. So we talked a little bit, we jumped right in. You know, the reason why we're really here tonight is because, in my mind, everybody in uniform here is ready for us on our worst day. We don't think about that. You know, we cruise through life at 365 days a year, and we expect everything to kind of go as planned. But when it doesn't, when something really bad happens, the first thing we do is pick up the phone and dial a number. That number goes to people. And the people, whether they're going to come with a fire truck or an EMS, an ambulance, or they're going to come to help you out as a police officer, those are the people here today. So we only think about them when it's our worst day, and they have to put up with our worst days 365 days a year. And part of this is for us to really recognize that we are thankful. A lot of us in the community don't go to sleep every night thinking that everything's going to be great the next day. And there are people like you on the front line doing the work to help us keep all safe. So that's the reason why we're here. We want to recognize you. We're going to keep this thing going and keep it up. With that being said, I think part of what makes this meaningful is the representation, not only through the Optimist Club, but the leadership of Oregon. And so I'd like to invite Mr. Randy Glishup, our village president. And Randy's going to say a few words. I think that he's been contemplating for a while. So here you go, Randy.
Good evening, everybody. Sometimes people ask me, what's it like being village president? Well, it's a lot of meetings, sign a lot of documents, and then they ask, with a smirk, is it fun? This is the fun part of being village president. So I'm very privileged to sort of stand before you at this event. The way I grew up, my parents taught us to say thank you and please and to appreciate people, and I think that's what tonight is all about, appreciating our police officers, our firefighters, EMS workers, the correctional officers. So as village president, I'm happy to be up here. I'm happy that I can stand here before your village, as your village president. And tonight is about showing our appreciation. And sometimes it's easy to forget to do that, but I'm glad events like this that we have that opportunity to do it. So the village supports everybody, the fire, EMS, the police, the correctional. So we're behind you, and thanks for having me, and let's have a great night. Thank you.
Yeah, Randy's got a great job, but a very tough job in managing the priorities of the village and making sure we have what we need. And having him here, I think, is a clear sign to us that we want to get you what you need from any resource that you have, but also show you community support. So with that, I think the talent, as it were, is here now. The first person I'd like to bring up is Captain Jason Menzel from the Oak Hill Correction Facility. I'm just a show of hands. Has anybody here ever been to Oak Hill voluntarily? All right, so that's a fair number of people here. Anybody not voluntarily? Yeah. We'd have a success story, I guess, because you're out here. After last year's event, we had the corrections team up here, and I was enthralled. I'm like, I have to see what you all are doing. So I took a 2-hour tour, almost a resident. I was there for so long, but I was really amazed at what they do for our community and taking people in. And they're not just housing men there. They're rehabilitating, they're educating. The education resources that they have, they pour into getting people who've made bad decisions or had a tough time in life back in the community to be productive. I was awestruck. It was amazing. And not only that they try to be self-sufficient. I think Jason's going to talk a little bit about their horticulture program. They raise tons of crops to feed themselves and also donate to the community, which we probably don't even know. So these people are active in our community. They live and breathe and work among us, and they go and have a very tough job at the corrections facility. A lot of times they don't get a lot of positive press for that or any press. And I hope that changes. And we'll start it last year, and we'll continue on. So Jason, please come up here. Jason's going to talk to us about Oak Hill.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for inviting us, and thank you for the recognition. Department of Corrections is oftentimes overlooked. A lot of times people ask me what I do for a living, and I say I work at a prison in Oregon, and they look at me and ask, the state of Oregon? They don't know that we're here. So again, I'm Captain Jason Menzel. I work at Oak Hill. I am the work release supervisor and the training captain. Just for a little reference, the Department of Corrections has 4 classifications of persons in our care: maximum, medium, minimum, and minimum community. So Oak Hill is a minimum community correctional facility. But what you may not have known is that we have 4 facilities here in Oregon. First one is the Grow Academy. They're part of the juvenile correction system, and they offer treatment as an alternative to incarceration for the juveniles. We have Oregon Correctional Center that houses minimum community classified persons in our care. That's the building that's right on County Highway M, the brown one. They house 120 persons in our care, and about 85 of them are on work release, so they come out to the community and they work. We also have the Oregon Farm, and that's operated by the Bureau of Corrections Enterprises. There are 20 persons in our care that work there. Actually, they are residents of Oak Hill Correctional, and they maintain 250 dairy cattle. They maintain the crops and the land to feed the cows, and then the milk that they produce supplies all of the correctional institutions in the state of Wisconsin and a bunch of correctional facilities in Minnesota as well. But most importantly, Oak Hill is about the staff. Oak Hill Correctional Institution, you can't actually see it from County Highway M. The only reason that you can see it, the only time you can see it is usually in the wintertime when the leaves are off the trees and you're on Highway 14, you can see our lights through the trees. But we house 765 minimum and minimum community persons in our care. We staff 280 people, and we're about 50 short, so if anybody's looking for a job, we've got plenty of room for you. But basically, Oak Hill is a village inside of a village. We've got doctors, nurses, dentists, psychologists, teachers, treatment specialists, social workers, cooks, recreation leaders, librarians, chaplains, maintenance workers, which include electricians, plumbers, carpenters, and pipe fitters. And then we have a business office, and they deal with all of our inmate baking and everything related with finance and a human resource department. Our staff work 24 hours a day, and so they're there. They have to be there every single minute. So the minimum staffing pattern that we have is 35 staff that work third shift, and first shift we have over 60 officers and sergeants working. A lot of times our officers are working 16 hours a day, multiple times a week. Most volunteer to do that work, but a lot of times they're also forced and ordered to work, but they understand the importance of their jobs and they continue to stay. But as Josh was saying, a lot of opportunities that we have for the persons in our care include education. We have, all persons in our care are able to maintain or obtain their high school education or high school diploma. We have a general maintenance class where they can learn basic electrical, plumbing, and carpentry skills. We have 2 vocational programs through Madison College, an electrical maintenance program and horticulture. Our horticulture program, we have a 5-acre garden just outside of our fences and a 1-acre garden inside. Last year we produced 12,000 pounds of produce. We used that to feed our persons in our care, and then everything that we had left over we gave to local food pantries. We also have flowering plants that we donate to dozens of local schools so the schools can start their own gardens. We also work with MATC in Milwaukee and UW-Madison for secondary education programming. We have a substance use disorders program, Thinking for a Change, anger management, anger control, self-management and recovery training, Windows to Work, which is an educational program for our guys to find jobs, housing, and transportation upon release. An earned release program, so if the judge says that they're eligible for it, they can get out up to 4 years early. We have a job center that collaborates with the Department of Workforce Development to help guys find and apply for jobs upon their release. And most dear to my heart is the work release program. We've got 70 guys entered in that program. It's a 3-tiered program where we start out with guys just outside the fence, helping to mow the lawn and stuff. And then they go to project crews, and they're supervised by Department of Corrections staff, and they work outside of the institution. And then finally, actual work release. We've got some guys that work out in the community without any supervision. On top of all of that, Oak Hill is also in charge of a security unit at UW Hospital. Last year, we helped facilitate over 2,200 medical appointments for all inmates or all correctional facilities in the state, and we helped maintain the security for 281 inpatient visits. So, I'm sorry, that's a lot, but we do a lot, and we're part of the community and we're important, and so I really, really appreciate you guys inviting us out here. And hopefully you know a little more.
I would say, unless you work there, you have no idea what goes on behind those doors. I mean, it's amazing. When I went toward the medical facility, and I've been all around the world in my career in medicine, and it competes with many of those places I've seen. So, and to run that and to keep respect for these people and help them grow and develop so they can come back, like you said, as part of a supervised or unsupervised work release. Those are professional terms, but what they really mean is, hey, can you join the community and be back with us and be part of the team, pulling for everyone else? And that's what they do, I think, after a tough time. So to Jason and his team and leadership over there, we thank you very much for coming out. So thank you so much. All right, so maybe now is time, as he's handing out tickets back there, I'm going to get Chief Glenn Lensmeyer, get his attention. So this is he's giving me so what's happening is, you probably have seen Glenn, if you don't work for the fire department, you've seen Glenn and his team around. The beautiful red trucks, I don't know if you've ever seen the looks like the quad tractor back there, which is a great piece of machinery. But man, the men and women at Oregon Fire and EMS cover so much territory and have so much responsibility that we don't know it unless you come to this event or you spend some time with them. They do a fantastic job trying to always stay at the front end of care and emergency services for our people here. And that goes out much further than you think, and Glenn will talk about that a little bit. What I think is very interesting is that, you know, the fire and EMS team here is actually a training ground for young firefighters and EMS to go out across the country and work for like really high-end. You're going to be like a, you know, maybe a smoke jumper or something out in the Arizona, New Mexico area. You're going to go out and work with a lead unit out in California somewhere. Glenn and his team turn out a number of people every year, new recruits they train up that get poached and go somewhere else. That doesn't happen everywhere. So the skills and knowledge and competency and care for new recruits that they take in here to build them up just to send them out elsewhere is a big thing. This is like farm league in baseball. This is AAA. We're taking the best that they have. Glenn and his team are training them up and sending them out, and all while keeping us safe and doing his thing, just like every other unit does as a first priority. So with that, Glenn, I'd love to have you up, and Glenn is going to talk about his team and recognize some individuals.
Guess Josh has the mic on for me already. Thanks, Oregon, for having us here tonight. We're very appreciative to be coming out and be part of the community, all that kind of stuff. For those that don't know me, again, Glenn Linsmeyer, Fire Chief here at Oregon Area Fire and EMS District. I always got to remember the area. A lot of people think we're just the Village of Oregon. We're just not the Village of Oregon. I got 3 townships. I see one of our town chairmen here tonight, basically from the town of Oregon, the town of Rutland, and the town of Dunn, and of course then we got the Village of Oregon. We got about 46 square miles basically of the fire district. We basically run from Christie's on Lake Wabisa, basically about halfway to Brooklyn and about halfway between Verona and also Stoughton. Our men and women here, currently we're staffed at around 40 men and women, and we run a lot of calls. And what I mean by a lot of calls, we're on pace this year to exceed our EMS numbers last year by about 200. The amount of EMS calls and the amount of runs by 8 full-time people that we have, and the vast majority of our group are what I call paid on premise, or volunteer the old group, or paid on call folks that work for us. Josh took all the wind out of my sails in telling you where all my men and women went, but I do want to just basically say that last year we had eight men and women that basically went different places throughout the country, and just to kind of give you an idea, City of Janesville, City of La Crosse, City of Madison, City of Watertown, South Wayne, Indiana, Billings, Montana, Memphis, Tennessee, Williams County, Texas, and Aspirus Hospital up in Portage. 8, 9 folks last year that was in here, worked for myself and for the district, ran many calls, got full-time jobs elsewhere. That is a great testament for our team, for all of our training, for all of our young men and women that basically work all these people through to get them road-worthy, ride the ambulance, do the fire stuff, and all that kind of thing. I don't know how much more my body can keep up with this recruitment and this ongoing in and out each and every year. It's kind of getting to be a little bit more tiresome for myself, but the team that I brought together, they continue to do that for this great community. The things tonight that I basically we really want this group to understand a couple different things, and basically it's the family commitment that is behind our operations that people do not realize. I've said this different places, different times that we've been at different groups, Summerfest, wherever it may be throughout the state when I was representing the state fire chiefs. It doesn't matter, but the family unit at home makes it possible for my men and women, our youngsters, to be able to come down here and be able to support that. So the first thing that I would like to do from the fire district's perspective is basically any of our family members, significant others, anything that's tied to the fire district, if those folks would just stand up, and then I would like a round of applause for all the families that put up with all the stuff that we do. Thank you. And again, Josh again's talking about, your worst day. This is what we do, no matter if it's Christmas, New Year's, whatever it may be. We staff. We try to have on a fire truck and an ambulance and an extra ambulance with POCs, paid on-call folks, to be able to be a back staff. So a lot of times, like right now, I probably got 10 members over here tonight or so. The remainder of the bunch is probably up at the ball game in Madison, enjoying themselves and everything else. They had that planned prior to this. But we're only we've already got one ambulance gone. We got another one sitting there. We're only one major incident, and we're all going to be leaving, is what I'm trying to tell you. So if the pager goes off, you know where we're going. Here nor there, we got some folks tonight that's been with us a long time, and I'm actually going to go backwards tonight to mention some folks. And we've got, I don't think any of our 25-year people here. DC Jessberger, do we have? Casey's coming up here to hand out some pins and some plaques and stuff. So 25 years with the fire district. Neither one of them are with us tonight, but I do want to mention both Captain Tony A to Z, or Antoniowicz, and also Lieutenant David Berman here with the fire department. Been here for, again, 25 years. A round of applause for those guys for doing a lot of time with our organization. Also with us tonight, I know I've got one here, Mr. Randy Way. Where's Randy? Come on up, Randy. 20 years serving as a lieutenant here. I think a lot of you know Randy's from the Oregon area. This isn't his first walk of life, but he surely enjoys the fire service. His wife and family allows him to basically run every other Friday night, 365 days a year, and a calendar out. And Randy's very meticulous. He lays it out in the electronic calendar, and we know exactly when Randy Way is going to be here. He's got his camping days planned out for the next year. So we appreciate it. He basically fills in for myself or Jessberger, one of the command folks, but basically covers us when we're, we need a day off and that kind of stuff. So we really appreciate it. And thank you, Randy, for your 20 years of service here. And you can stay right up here. Yeah, you're not going anywhere. So the other one is Lieutenant Lisa A to Z. That'd be Tony's wife. She's been with the department for 20 years. Basically, again, she's one paramedic. Her full-time career. She's basically doing double duty. She's a duty chief over in village of Cottage Grove, a paramedic over there. Runs over there a 24-hour shift on her days off. She's in the Oregon district, and then she helps with our training, moving our young men and women along in our EMS operations, and then again, of course, support the fire district wherever we go for any of the events and that kind of stuff throughout the year. So Lisa's not here tonight, but again, a round of applause for Lisa. And I don't know if Miles is here or not, but another Oregon native, Miles Kading. Miles, are you here? I know you were signed up to be here. I don't see Miles in the family. But Miles has got 15 years in, basically here in the fire district, doing again stuff for not only coming in on when the pager goes off, lives in the north end of the village, but also responds quite frequently from the fire station, staying overnight and being part of the first crew, duty crew out, all that kind of stuff. 10 years of service, one of our full-time captains. Michael, you want to come up? Captain Mike Venden, been with the fire district for 10 years. These guys and gals and women tonight, a lot of them, we had, about a month ago, we had a appreciation party for the fire district that we didn't have for the last year or so because of COVID, that kind of thing. So we handed out a bunch of plaques and pins and all that kind of stuff about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. So again, we're just bringing the folks up tonight, making you aware of their service and their commitment to your community. Also, David Engerman, if David would come up. David Engerman's got 5 years of service, lives here in the village of Oregon. You can present it. So we got a plaque here that Casey's going to present to David.
This is for Dave Ingerman, 5 years of valuable service to the Oregon Area Fire EMS District. Dave's one of those guys, he's around a lot during the day. He's really taken our new drone program under his wing and really diving headfirst into that. So Dave's one of those guys that really helps our operation go along and is kind of an unsung voice behind the scenes that we're very appreciative for. So thank you.
Yes, David, you can stay up here also. Like Casey said, kind of a segue, and then I do want to talk just a little bit, you brought it up, the drone. The resources of the fire district, the fire association, and your contributions have basically made that possible. We got a couple drones that we put up. We've got our David's one of our certified operators. We've got our plans with the federal government, being able to fly for emergency different operations. We can drop some payloads in, take life jackets in, drop a life jacket over someone stranded on the ice, different things of that nature, a secure package, all that kind of thing. You know, this started out, we've had a couple different incidents in the north side of the town. Again, we've got some different terrain up in the town of Dunn up there by the lake and stuff. That's a quite large area. We've needed some different drones. We've used the State Patrol and the Sheriff's Department. The association, our 501c3 from the fire district basically took that up and raised the funds last year. So I think we had them ordered for about 6 months it took to get the equipment. The equipment came in, so now we're just starting to get that stuff out. And that is a view over here on one of the tables in front of the white ambulance for those that wanted to see it, that kind of stuff. You know, each and every day, as Josh said before, there's times that we're there on those worst days and that kind of stuff. I just want to give you a couple more statistics that people don't realize and that kind of stuff. Last year, we had 3 different cardiac arrests or P&Bs or something of that nature where someone was not breathing and needed our assistance to bring those folks around. Very happy to say that through the county and that kind of stuff this last year, we had 3 different groups that were basically recognized. We had some county pins and that kind of stuff where the survivors wanted to be notified, came in, and we made that presentation over at the ball game basically on the north side of Madison a couple weeks ago. Here nor there, most of the time and almost all the time, you know, from our end, we respect everyone's privacy and rights and that kind of stuff, but we work through those things with the families and all that kind of stuff. So those are the worst days of everyone's lives, and we are very fortunate to have the men and women around you to be able to make that happen. We've got about 15 people this last year that's been in a situation as such, and can't say enough for those men and women. And I think I'd like to give those folks for those cardiac arrests another round of applause. I don't have our newest intern, our brand newest intern, Brandon Herr, is not with us tonight. He's out with the family doing some things. But his basic first day, he started here back in June, about June 15th this year. April 15th? So I'm close, a couple months off. So April 15th he started. That particular day will be a day that he will remember for the rest of his career. Basically, he wants to be a firefighter medic. He's got his fire stuff going through EMS and all that other kind of stuff. Here nor there, we get called to a vehicle basically with a lady going in labor out on Fish Hatchery Road. So that young man had an experience of his life first day. Exactly. So here nor there, so we've got a group of people that basically this last summer delivered a baby boy, as I recall. We don't have the blue storks on the back of the ambulance, but we gave some stork pins away at the appreciation party. It's a big event for our men and women to do that. And just in the scope of that kind of stuff, those are eye-opening situations and things that you will remember as we tell him now, 25, 30 years from now when he retires, he will remember his first day in Oregon, and he will remember that baby and who that is. So I do want to just kind of add, just kind of put things in perspective. For those that don't know, Casey Jesberger over here is my EMS chief, division chief of EMS, and we're building out the paramedic program. We're going to be turning that on very shortly here, probably around the first of the year, that kind of thing. But to put this in perspective, he's worked for Janesville, he worked for different places. We got him down here a couple of years ago. But in his career so far, which is how many years? 21 years, he's delivered number 9 babies in his in his career so far. So those are the things to put in perspective. So a round of applause for Jason. In closing, I just want to, I think it's only appropriate. I look around the crowd and I see a wide variety of different ages, different folks. But I cannot come up here today knowing that tomorrow is 9/11 and not knowing that it's basically 21 years ago. I think for those of us that have been around, 21 years ago, tomorrow morning, we knew where we were when those planes hit the Twin Towers. We remember that just like there was no change and, you know, that kind of stuff. All the other things that go with that, you'll never forget where you were, the things you were doing and all that kind of thing. A year ago on the 20th, we were talking about out here. You know, we talk about what fire and EMS folks do, our men and women here at Oregon, no matter where you go throughout the country. We run into the buildings. As the people were coming down those towers, there was people ready to go up those towers and be able to rescue, to try to save someone. Well, we do that same thing in Oregon here each and every day, if it's no matter if it's a car that somebody's pulling somebody out of a car that's trapped or have a fire. The other day we had a big commotion in Oregon, right over here in the township in the village line. A garbage truck goes on. Fortunately, we were able to get that individual out through the window. No one was underneath the garbage truck. Again, a good outcome. But my point is that the men and women here that we have each and every day, we don't know when our calling is going to be pulled, and we may not be coming back. We lose a few men and women each and every year. We God hope that it's not in Oregon. We hope it's not in Dane County or the state of Wisconsin. But those are the risks that we take to protect the community and the people that we love and all that other kind of stuff. And without these kind of folks doing it and taking on these commitments, we would not be able to live in the community, the state, or the country that we live today. So for all of that group and for all those people that lost that life, 21 years ago, I'd like to take a few moments here of silence. And in closing, I would just like a good round of applause for all the men and women here in Oregon. Thank you.
So I mean, that's phenomenal. The years of service they have here under Glenn's team, and the folks that couldn't be here tonight are working, and fantastic. I walk away with two things: is Casey is essentially an obstetrician. By practical purposes, and then we have an awesome drone program in town. So I expect to see drone packages being dropped off, maybe courtesy of the fire EMS. I've already proposed with Glenn next year we do a little drone that's going to drop some gift cards or something on it. We'll see how far that goes. The thing that Glenn and I talked about that hits me because I'm part of this community. I want to do more. I think there's an opportunity, and I defer to Glenn if anybody's interested. But there's a lot of opportunity to volunteer within the fire EMS program that maybe didn't exist before for different ages than you think. So if there's an opportunity, you're thinking about doing something, please reach out to Glenn. You may not be holding the hose in the fire, but maybe there's some other activities that you can participate with. I'm going to talk to my wife, and we'll maybe engage Glenn to see if I can do something a couple days a month, get trained up, and be a bigger part of the community that way. So I would encourage everyone to think about it if you aren't already obligated as such. So lastly for tonight, I'm going to ask Chief Jenny Pagenkoff to come up here. Developed quite a relationship with the chief around a lot of things, this being one of them. She was actually the first person I came to when I wanted to propose what this event could be and how we could start really generating interest from the community to show our thanks for what you all do. It's not easy to be a police officer in this country. It probably never has been, but it's harder than ever. And that is not lost on all of us. And I think it's our obligation and responsibility to show you the reverence and the pride in which we have for all of you that put the badge on every day. Those of you who walk around with a holster who know that it's either life or death, hopefully more life and saving lives, as we heard last year. But Chief Pagenkoff has been a champion of this event, a champion of her team. She's youthful and energetic, and as Randy and I were talking a little bit, she doesn't let anything go to pass. Every stone gets looked under to find a way to provide better care for us. So if I can, ask the chief to come on up.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I am Chief Jenny Pagenkoff. I'm actually going to have my second in command, my Lieutenant Chad Schaub. You can come on up. I have the privilege of leading some amazing people, but there is no way I could do what I do without the lieutenant right by me, helping me every step of the way. So we're gonna move right into some awards. And before I do that, I just again want to thank everyone who helped with organizing this event. It's just been amazing, and it's just a wonderful feeling to have our community celebrate us this way. We're going to move right into the awards first, and we're going to try to stay ahead of this weather. For the first award, I'd like Sergeant Hatfield, Detective Sergeant Jansen, Lieutenant Shop, come on up. So as I talk about a few of these awards, I will be careful on the information I release. As Mr. King said, you know, we show up to some of the most difficult days of our community members' lives, so I want to be sensitive to that. This award is being given, it's Exceptional Service Award to Sergeant Hatfield, if you could step forward, Detective Sergeant Jansen, and Lieutenant Shop. Two others that couldn't make it tonight are also Officer Balig and Sergeant Elsner. But to give you some details of why they're receiving this award, on November 8th, 2021 at approximately 7:50 a.m., and I remember this quite well because I was on my way into work as I heard this unfold. These individuals, these officers and sergeants were dispatched to an incident involving a woman who had been shot. Everyone who was on duty immediately responded. Sergeant Hatfield, Detective Sergeant Jansen, Lieutenant Schaub, and Officer Balig, who, of course, Officer Balig was on field training at the time, entered the residence quickly and engaged the shooter to stop the threat. They all remained calm, courageous as they entered the residence and worked as a team to help the injured woman to safety. They located the shooter and were able to disarm him. They showed excellent judgment and initiative during this incident, which reflects the department's core values, and their actions ultimately prevented further harm to our community. I want to thank them. Please join me in thanking them. Thank you, gentlemen. I will say, as the chief, that was by far one of the scariest moments as I drove in and listened to that, and I'm so glad it ended the way it did. The second award, and I'd like this officer to step forward, is Officer Nydia Navarro. So Officer Navarro tonight is receiving the Exceptional Service Award. She's been with us for 2 years, and I share that with you because what she did was amazing. On April 1st, 2022, officers were dispatched to a disturbance call on Walnut Street in Oregon of a man pointing a long gun at a neighbor while making threats to harm the neighbor. Officer Navarro negotiated with this person for over 3 hours. 3 hours is an incredibly long time to negotiate with anyone, let alone someone who's armed themselves with a long gun. As a result of Officer Navarro's calm and courageous efforts, the subject surrendered without incident, and no one was injured, including that armed subject. She showed excellent judgment and initiative during this incident, which reflects the department's core values, most specifically the core value of courage. Thank you, Officer Navarro. We're actually going to have Officer Navarro stay up here because she's going to get another award, but I'd also like Officer Russell to join her, please. So Officer Navarro and Officer Russell are both receiving the Life Saving Award tonight. They've both been here approximately 2 years, and they both work second shift. On February 17th, 2022, at approximately 5 p.m., Officer Navarro and Officer Russell responded to a report of a community member attempting to harm himself. As soon as both officers arrived, they observed the community member was unresponsive, did not have a pulse, and was not breathing. Officer Navarro and Officer Russell worked well together in providing life-saving measures, and through their actions, the community member is still alive. I'd like to thank them for their acts of courage.
To the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California.
If I could have members of the Optimist Club come up, please. So as I mentioned, Officer Bollig unfortunately could not be here, but he was nominated as the Officer of the Year by his peers, and this is celebrated through the Optimist Club. This award is given to one officer for sustained service and teamwork. This award is given to an officer whose fellow members of the Oregon Police Department nominate him or her for the award. The Oregon Brooklyn Optimist Club joins us in recognizing the officer, and the Optimist Club provides them with a plaque. Unfortunately, Officer Bollig could not be here with us tonight, so Lieutenant Schaub will accept the award on his behalf. We want to thank the Optimist Club for all the great work that they do for our community and the wonderful partnership we have with them.
You've heard a number of times tonight that the folks we are recognizing this evening are there at some of the worst times in our lives. I think it's also important to remember that they are also there during some of the best times of our lives, the times when there aren't emergencies. But when we do have to see them at one of those worst times, we need them to be optimistic. It's one of the reasons we're recognizing them, the Optimist Club is recognizing them, that although they aren't optimists, part of the Optimist Club, they are honorary optimists, and we need them to be optimists whenever they come to lend us a hand at one of those worst times. I want to tell you just briefly what it means to be an optimist. And to do that, I want you to close your eyes. I find it's always easiest, for me at least, to imagine and to focus when my eyes are closed. This is what an optimist is, and what an optimist promises every day. An optimist promises to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. We talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person we meet. We make all our friends feel that there is something in them. We look at the sunny side of everything, and we make our optimism come true. We think only of the best, we work only for the best, and we expect only the best. We try to be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as we are about our own. We forget the mistakes of the past, and we press on to the greater achievements of the future. We wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature we meet a smile. We give so much time to the improvement of ourselves that there's no time to criticize others. Need to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, and too strong to permit the presence of trouble. We depend on each one of them to be optimistic on the best day of our life and unfortunately on the worst day of our life. And so we are extremely proud to present this award tonight to one of the officers. If you could hold this for just a second, Jenny. I'm going to take this. Tonight's recipient started with the department in July of 2021. After completing his training, he has been a valued member of the night shift team. He's shown tremendous dedication and a passion towards the community. This year's Officer of the Year is very personable and does a great job communicating with every contact within the community, as all of our Oregon officers do. The police department is going through some staffing changes and shortages, as you can imagine right now. And Officer Bollig has been more than willing to pick up extra shifts and help fellow officers. One officer who nominated Officer Bollig stated, "I feel he is experienced much beyond his years and will be a great asset to our department in the years to come." We've received compliments from the public about Officer Bollig's professionalism during his contacts, and we are excited to name him the 2021-2022 Officer of the Year, to Officer Jackson Bollig.
So I'm not going to talk a whole lot, but I'm obviously not Officer Jackson Bollig. I'm Lieutenant Chad Schaub. Jackson couldn't be here with us tonight, and we're sorry that he couldn't be here, but he is a very valued member of our team. As he stated before, Jackson's only been with us for just over a year, and to be nominated and by his own members of the department for an award like this, the Officer of the Year, is very special. So we're very proud of Jackson. We're looking forward to having him on as our department for a long time to come. Many of you might not know him because he is a member of the night shift team, and like we've been saying all day, there's people here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when most of you are sleeping, just know that Jackson's roaming around the community, keeping everybody safe. So thank you very much, and I'll make sure Jackson gets this.
The next officer is Officer Alex Crocco. If you could come up, please. So some of you may recognize Officer Alex Crocco as our last SRO, School Resource Officer, but he is now our newly appointed K-9 officer as well. He's receiving an award tonight for outstanding service. Officer Crocco just completed several years as the Oregon School Resource Officer. SRO Crocco's work with the Oregon School District to proactively interact with students and faculty provided an outstanding level of service and safety. SRO Crocco was faced with many challenges in his role and did so with integrity, leadership, service, courage, and respect. SRO Crocco created a positive and productive environment for students and faculty through his hard work and dedication. SRO Crocco is a great representation of the department's core values.
Thank my lucky stars to be living here today.
So while I have Alex up here, in October of 21, the Oregon Police Department's first K-9 Vende retired from service, and many of you joined us for that retirement/award ceremony. We want to thank you for being there. It's my understanding Vende is enjoying his retirement, or her retirement, excuse me, and it's well deserved. Due to the work of the last K-9 handler, Officer Coleman, where is he? Can you raise your hand, Josh? Oh, he left? Okay. We were able to continue growing that K-9 program, so I've asked Alex to just share briefly what we're doing right now with that.
Yeah, so just a little update on our K-9 program right now. About a month ago, the chief, lieutenant, and I went down to Giuseppini Kennels, which is in Iron Ridge, Wisconsin, and we picked out a 15-month-old male German Shepherd. His name now is Archie. We posted on Facebook, take some suggestions, and that was the name we liked the best. So right now his name's Archie. And last Monday we started our 5-week introduction training. That went really well. So 1 week's down, we have 4 more to go. And October 7th is the Friday of our graduation, and we'll be done then, and we're excited to come back and work for the village.
And then if we could have Kyle, if you could step up just briefly. I just wanted to quickly introduce Kyle. He's our new school resource officer. He's just going to introduce himself and just say something.
Hey everybody, I'm Kyle Shuey. I'm the new SRO, as she said, in our school district. I'm very fortunate to have been able to be a part of that opportunity. I've been welcomed into their family and working well with the staff and students already. The one thing that we're fortunate that we've been able to build a great SRO program with the previous SROs and the chief and lieutenant. And we have a great partnership with our school district that we are able to have such a positive impact on with our students. Anytime you'll see me a part of any of our 7 schools in our district, we are immersed in the community. We're promoting a positive learning environment and working with any issues that may arise. One of the ways that we do that is we use a lot of our resources, a lot of great resources through the DOJ, Office of School Safety, and we use the Speak Up or Stand Up, Speak Out program, which individuals can report mental health concerns or active threat concerns, and that's something that we utilize for our resources. So if any of you see me or your kids are out and about, please wave, say hi, and we look forward to getting to meet you throughout the year.
So I will wrap up everything with just something short to say. I was thinking about what exactly I'd want to say today and who I would be speaking to, and that's the more important thing, is who am I speaking to. And when I give this speech, I kept in mind my staff, their families, the little ones, but then also the community that's always been so supportive of us. And I had to type it out because I'm going to share with you a very meaningful moment that I had with one of my children. But first of all, I can't tell you how proud of the work my team does for this community. The awards given today were just a small piece of what good work they do. Again, I want to share with you a personal experience I had, and I believe everyone in law enforcement has something similar like this happen. I have 2 young sons who are here that every morning as I leave for work, they intently look over my uniform, trying to understand the equipment I wear and why I wear it. I watch as their little sweet souls try to understand why their mom has to wear a handgun on her waist and a body camera on her shoulder. One night, my youngest son asked me why police officers wear badges on their chest. If you research Google, you'll find all kinds of theories, reasons as to why we wear badges. This is what I told my son that night. When I, along with the rest of my Oregon police officers, were given a police badge like others I work with, each of us were told by our community that they picked us, not anyone else, but us to keep them safe. The community trusted in each of us that we would be there for them, to help them, even in the worst moments of their lives. I explained that when we wear our uniforms, our badges sit over our heart. And the reason for that is because our community knows that to keep our community safe, we will have to go to calls and see stuff that most people should never have to witness. We will be treated in ways no human being should ever be treated. We will run towards dangerous situations while others run away. That badge sits over our hearts. It serves as a shield to keep the good in each of us intact. The badge can be very heavy at times, and when I say that, I mean heavy with responsibilities, the level of commitment and dedication each one of us carries. Responsibilities of keeping the community safe and to be diligent in our duties. To have success, happiness, and fulfillment in this career, you need to know your purpose and what gives you passion in this profession. We do not ever lose sight of what the badge means to us, not only to us, but to our families, our community, and our brothers and sisters in this profession. I'll end with this. Our world right now is so divided, negative, and at times feels like it won't end. And if I could describe how I visually see it in my head is as if us law enforcement stand in a line, and in front of us every day our staff, regardless of sworn or non-sworn, regardless of rank, face that negativity. It may be someone yelling at them, someone hurting them, someone criticizing them. It is so easy for anyone to focus on and get tunnel vision on that negativity that we have faced, that is right in front of us, and we forget what is behind us. the support, the love, and the faith our families, friends, community members, and coworkers have in each of us. I say this to remind my staff to ask that when they are staring down the barrel of that negativity, they remind themselves of what is behind them, what has their back, and what the support they have. On behalf of all members of the Oregon Police Department, I want to thank all of you that have supported us and held us up when we needed you. Thank you.
I don't know how you top that. I think that's as clearly defined in the both physical and psychological, elements that affect especially our police, but fire and EMS as well, dispatch and corrections. But Chief Pagenkopf said it great. And what we're here today to do, and this time next year we'll be back, bigger and better than ever. I can promise you that. It'll be our chance as a community to look at you all in the face and say, hey, look, we appreciate what you do. You're going to take slings and arrows. We can't control from where that comes from, but we can tell you every time we see you out. I wave at every police officer that I see drives by, and I'm only like 20% wave back at me. I don't know if that's a police thing or not. Do better, really, do better. I joke, but I do think this is an opportunity to make sure we in the community get a chance to say thank you for everything you do. It does not go unnoticed, even though sometimes we may lapse and forget that you all are out there in the middle of the night, but you do such a great job. You deserve our reverence. You deserve our respect. This is a small way to do that. We want to do it next year, bigger and better than ever. So next year, we'll maybe deconflict with the Wisconsin game. Unfortunately, they lost. I know, it's a bummer. But we do plan to have this again next year. Think about how other people would like to see them here engage with the people in uniform. There's a nice cross-section of our community here. Really cool to have. From all different walks of life, all different ages, and I can't think of any better way to spend an evening, a beautiful evening, which somebody was looking out for us, we dodged the rain, with a bunch of kids hanging out, seeing their moms and dads or police officers or fire EMS get awards for saving people's lives and doing things above and beyond just showing up to work every day, which many of us do. I fly a laptop for a living. I literally am behind a screen. And it's meaningful work, and I'm glad I do it. But I can only do that with the expectation that I'll be safe and sound, and my family will too. And so we have been for 7 years, and I want to thank you all. We're going to wrap this up. Feel free to hang out. If it starts raining on you, that's up to you. But enjoy the food. I want to thank our great vendors at Senior Peppers, Ziggy's Barbecue, and Pizza Pit. Phenomenal response. These guys don't make a ton of money. When you are out at 4:30 or 5 and you look at your spouse and say, what do you want for dinner? I hope those three choices come up to you and you patronize their facilities. They're great people, great to work with, and very responsive. So thank you. Thank you all for coming tonight. Have a great evening. Watch some football and have a cold beverage. Thank you.